They confirm, I think, what every Canadian feels every time they look at their paycheck, they go to work. Under this government, Canada is the only country to have driven this economy into a recession. The Prime Minister is the only Prime Minister of any G20 economy to have done that. Growth has declined in 3 of the last 4 quarters, and today's data makes clear that it's certainly worse than the government has been broadcasting. The Parliamentary Budget Officer today released the latest economic and fiscal outlook, and the findings are certainly damning. The PBO slashed its growth forecast to just 1.1% this year and 1.6% next year, and that doesn't account for the most recent recession data. Scotiabank forecasts that Canada will be at 0.8% growth this year, less than half of the 1.9% projected for the United States, and BMO even more pessimistic today at just 0.5%. I think today the PBO put it very plainly that the labor market has softened, that businesses are postponing expansion plans because of the uncertainty that exists here, and that's not really an abstract finding. Those are real jobs that aren't being created and real investments that aren't being made in Canada. Stats Canada confirmed that labor productivity fell to 1.5% in the first quarter, and that's after a decline of the quarter before. And productivity has now dropped in 3 of the 4 last quarters, and that's since the Prime Minister has taken office. 10 of the 16 industry sectors declined, with construction and agriculture leading all the way down. And then Canadian workers are also producing less, meaning that Canadians are making less. And that is a very simple finding, unfortunately, from the PBO this morning. And all of that, meanwhile, while the Prime Minister is telling Canadians that he is cutting costs in the public service. And today we see the PBO disagree with all of that. Personal expenses are projected to grow from $69.2 billion to $86 billion by 2030, 2031. And despite promising to borrow $65 billion this year in the spring economic statement, which we certainly just had, the government is on track to borrow $72 billion. That's a $7 billion overrun that was found today. Canadians certainly deserve a government that manages their money like it matters and not use Canadians as a credit card to bolster programs which don't work and Canadians don't need. And this, again, is the only Prime Minister to have driven our economy, the Canadian economy, the only economy in the G7 into a recession. I want to also address the Liberals unveiling their AI strategy this morning in Toronto with what seemingly is very lofty goals, but no plan to deliver on that. Very short on details, a very ambitious plan which lacks a lot of details that I think Canadians have been waiting for a very long time. Canada was the first country in 2017 to put forward an AI strategy, and 9 years later, we see that strategy certainly hasn't worked. It certainly hasn't led to adoption. In fact, we're still waiting, I think, in some cases, for the outcomes of that. I want to talk for a second about what Canadians are talking about at kitchen tables and boardroom tables, and what this strategy lacks. Privacy, first and foremost, and the safety and the security that was promised in this is nowhere to be found in the document, certainly no details. And I think that, look, Canadians at kitchen tables and boardroom tables are concerned about the increased invasion into Canadian privacy with not only this AI strategy and what it will bring, but what we see in the House of Commons currently. On one hand, the Prime Minister says that AI puts Canadians' privacy under threat, or he said today that Canadian privacy was under threat. And of course it is. It's under threat by this very government. This government that's promising consumer privacy legislation, but it's putting privacy at risk with bills like C-22, the lawful access bill that's still running through the House, C-8, the cybersecurity amending the Telecommunications Act, which we've seen a number number of organizations raised privacy concerns. Certainly a number of members in this House and from our side raised privacy concerns on Bill C-11, Bill C-18, Bill C-9, all with privacy concerns. In fact, the government doing a full reversal on taxing Canadians because their legislation doesn't work, so an admission. We also have deep concerns about the unemployment that already exists, youth unemployment at 15%, 442,000 youth are out of work, and that's the largest number since the Great Recession. We don't believe the Liberals when they say that they'll create 90,000 jobs when we have lost more than 112,000 jobs just since January in this country. Again, no details in this plan, not a whole lot to digest. On the issue of sovereignty, we'll support expanding certainly Canadian sovereignty in computing, and we believe that we should keep that intellectual property in Canada. But today's plan again lacks any kind of detail on how to get there. And then I think that we should talk about the elephant in the room that I think the Prime Minister certainly was excited about, and that's the ability to power our future, to build the data centers. We currently have enough energy to power ourselves for a generation and displace much of the energy in the world that some of the dictators and despots are using to fuel their own wars. And we haven't done anything to unlock that energy. In fact, the Prime Minister gave himself powers with C5 to overstep his own legislation, but that legislation is still in place. We have Bill C-69, we have a tanker ban, an oil and gas cap, an industrial carbon tax, which makes the climate for investment here in energy, the same investment that's going to need to power our future in AI at risk. We certainly have issues on bringing forward a plan that's going to attract the kind of investment that the Prime Minister is going to attract, and we have concerns about him matching that investment with no details in the numbers, and certainly using a sovereign debt fund, which again he has given Canadians no details about. So I think today's announcement was a lot of fanfare, short on details, and a lot of hollow words from a podium. And I think Canadians are expecting real answers on safety, on security, on privacy, and on the future of AI in this country.